He isolated me, she said. Made me cut off my family. Made me believe I was the unstable one. Every sentence stabbed deeper. And when I tried to leave, she swallowed. He threatened to ruin me. My reputation. My safety. Hannah covered her mouth in shock. But I escaped, Rachel said, voice shaking. I changed numbers. Moved cities. Filed a confidential report. And still, she looked at me with haunting fear. I never felt safe again. I whispered, Rachel, he married me. She stared at me like I'd told her the world was ending. Oh God, she breathed. Emily, you're in more danger than you realize. My chest tightened painfully. What do? I whispered. Rachel's voice was barely audible. You run before he decides you know too much. For a long moment none of us spoke. Rachel's final warning, you're in more danger than you realize, echoed inside me like a siren. My heartbeat thundered in my ears. The room felt too small, the air too thin. What does that mean? I whispered. Why would Jason or Jacob, or whatever his name really is, want to hurt me? Rachel didn't answer immediately. Instead, she stood slowly, walked to a small cabinet near the wall, and unlocked it with a tiny silver key. Inside was a folder, stuffed with papers. She set it on the coffee table between us. This, she said, her voice trembling, is everything I learned about him after I escaped. My stomach dropped. He has done this before, Rachel continued. He starts the same way. Charming, generous, perfect. Too perfect. Then once a woman commits, once she trusts him, he shows who he really is. Cold chill crawled up my spine. But there's something worse, she added. The way she said it made my skin tighten. Worse. Hannah whispered. Rachel nodded. Look at page 7. My hand shook as I opened the folder. Page after page flashed past. Screenshots, emails, old IDs with different names, notes from someone tracking him. Then page 7. A name circled in red. Charlotte Hale, Missing Person Report, 2018. Age 26. Last seen with. My eyes widened. No, I breathed. Rachel inhaled shakily. That's his fiancée. Before me. The room tilted. My pulse raced. She disappeared, Rachel said, trying to keep her voice steady. No one was ever charged. They couldn't prove anything. But people who knew her said she had been trying to leave him. Felt sick. Police questioned him, Rachel said. He moved states 2 weeks later and became Jacob Mercer. And after the investigation cooled, she continued, he vanished again. Changed identity. New city. New job. New target. Tears burned at the corners of my eyes. And now, she whispered, her gaze locking on mine. He's Jason Miller. And you are his wife. My throat tightened painfully. Emily, Rachel said softly, I think he marries women to control them, to own them. And when they realize the truth, they disappear, or run, or become too traumatized to speak. So he could, Hannah's voice cracked. He could hurt her. Rachel didn't answer, which was answer enough. The one thing he never let go of. But listen carefully, Rachel continued, leaning closer. He doesn't just manipulate women. That's not the darkest part. I blinked away tears. What could be darker than that? She took a shaking breath. He stole from us, she said. From all of us. Money. Gasped confused. No, Rachel whispered. Our identities. My heart froze. Rachel explained. When we were with him, Charlotte, me, Lauren, maybe others, he collected everything. Birth certificates, social security numbers, banking info, family records. Anything he could get his hands on. Why? Hannah asked, horrified. Because he uses them, Rachel said. For fake identities. for disappearing, for reinventing himself whenever he's close to being exposed. Felt faint. He doesn't just change his name, Rachel said. He becomes us, takes pieces of us, uses our information to build new aliases, new lives. The room spun. He might have taken something from you already, Rachel said quietly, without you even realizing. I whispered, but why me? Why did he marry me? Rachel exhaled shakily. Because you're stable, intelligent, kind, the type people trust. The type who'd never assume her husband is living under stolen identities. Her voice softened. You're the perfect cover. My blood turned cold. Hidden file. Rachel reached into the folder again and pulled out one last item. A thin, worn envelope with my name handwritten on the front. Froze. What is that? I found it months ago, Rachel said. In a box he left behind in a storage unit when he ran. I didn't know who Emily Carter was back then. But when you said your name today, she swallowed. I realized this was meant for you. My hands shook as I opened the envelope. Inside was a single sheet of paper with a list. Emily Carter. Blank. Mother's maiden name. Blank. Bank. Space left. Insurance. Space left. Emergency contacts. Line waiting. Work schedule blank. Acquire by winter. My breath shattered. Acquire, Hannah whispered. Choir. Oh my God, Emily, he's planning. I couldn't speak. Couldn't breathe. Every part of my body went numb. He wasn't finished with you, Rachel said softly. He was preparing, collecting, waiting. A tremor ran through me from head to toe. He doesn't love, Rachel whispered. He consumes. My world collapses. I stared at the list, my heartbeat a wild, painful rhythm. Jason hadn't chosen me. He hadn't married me because he loved me. He had chosen me because I was useful. My identity, my stability, my life. All pieces of a puzzle he was assembling for his next reinvention. I felt something break inside me. Something deep, something fragile. A truth too heavy to bear. I was sleeping next to a man who didn't exist. And the man behind the mask needed pieces of me to become someone new. When I finally found my voice, it was thin and shaking. What do I do now? Rachel's eyes filled with fear. You run, she said. And you don't look back. The drive back home felt unreal, like I was drifting through a nightmare I couldn't wake from. Streetlights blurred past in long streaks of white. My hands trembled on the steering wheel. Hannah sat beside me, silent, biting her nails, stealing anxious glances my way. I could feel it, the ticking clock. Every mile I drove brought me closer to the man who had built his entire life out of lies. The man who had written "Acquire by winter" next to my name. My stomach twisted. Emily, Hannah whispered. We don't have to go back tonight. We can go to my place, pack later. No, I said, voice shaking. If he comes home and I'm gone, he'll know something's wrong. And if he comes home when you're there, she shot back. I didn't answer. Couldn't. Both options were terrifying. But one thing was clear. I needed to grab my documents, laptop, and whatever evidence I could before I vanished. Before he realized I knew every secret. The house that no longer felt like mine. When I pulled into the driveway, my heartbeat was a painful thud in my throat. The house was dark. Car not in the driveway. Silence. Relief. A warning. We stepped inside. The air smelled faintly of his cologne, a scent that once felt comforting but now made my skin crawl. Just grab what you need, Hannah whispered. I moved quickly. Birth certificate, passport, laptop, jewelry my mom left me. The backup phone I hid in the closet. Every sound felt amplified. Every floorboard creak sounded like a footstep. My hands shook as I zipped the small overnight bag. Then Hannah froze. Emily, she whispered. Your bedroom light, It wasn't on when we came in, right? My breath stopped. I slowly turned my head. A thin beam of warm light spilled from under the bedroom door. Clicked on. By itself. Hannah grabbed my arm. Someone's in there. My throat tightened. No, we were alone. Then we heard it. Slow, steady tapping. From inside the bedroom. Like someone was impatiently drumming their fingers. Waiting. My blood went ice cold. We need to go, Hannah whispered, pulling me toward the front door. We moved as quietly as possible, my hand clutching the doorknob. When the tapping stopped. Silence. Blink. The bedroom door opened. I didn't breathe. I didn't move. Soft footsteps echoed down the hallway toward us. Hannah's eyes widened with terror. Emily, she mouthed. I opened the front door inch by inch. Then a voice cut through the darkness. Going somewhere. Froze. His voice. Jason. Standing halfway down the hallway, illuminated only by the bedroom light behind him. But it wasn't the friendly, warm tone I knew. 'Twas low, cold, calculated. The voice of a stranger wearing my husband's face. The man in the hallway. Jason stepped forward slowly, eyes locked onto mine, a small smile forming. Not kind, not loving. Something else. Something predatory. You're home early, he said. My mouth went dry. You weren't supposed to be back until tomorrow. He tilted his head, still smiling. I changed my plans. His gaze dropped to the bag in my hand. Going on a trip. His tone sharpened. Hannah stepped in front of me. She was staying at my. Jason raised a hand slightly. A warning gesture. Not violent but commanding. Emily can speak for herself, he said softly. My legs felt weak. Survive. I just needed some air, I stammered. I was going to stay with Hannah for a night. That's all. His eyes flicked to Hannah, cold, assessing, then back to me. You should have called, he said. Wives should keep their husbands informed. The words sliced through me. Hannah grabbed my wrist. We're leaving, she said firmly. Jason's smile faded. Completely. Emily, he said, voice dropping lower. Don't walk out that door. The hallway lights flickered. My heart hammered. Then Hannah yanked me outside. Run. We sprinted to the car as Jason stepped into the doorway. Not running. Not shouting. Just watching. With a smile that made my skin crawl. The moment Hannah's car sped away from the house, the adrenaline that had been holding me together began to crack. My hands shook violently in my lap. My throat tightened. My chest felt too small for the air I needed. Hannah kept glancing at me, her voice trembling as she said, Emily, breathe. You're safe. You're with me. You're okay. But I wasn't okay. I didn't feel the seat beneath me. I didn't hear the engine. I didn't feel like I was in my own body. All I could hear was Jason's voice echoing. Wives should keep their husbands informed. Don't walk out that door. Words that used to sound protective now felt like a threat hanging over my life. My chest tightened again. Painfully. I folded forward, hands gripping my head. Hannah pulled over immediately. Emily. Talk to me. I can't. I gasped. I can't breathe. Hannah, I can't. My vision blurred. My ears rang. The world tilted sideways. Hannah cupped my face gently. Hey, look at me. You're having a panic attack. Just breathe with me. Low. In out. But my breaths were sharp, broken. Tears streamed down my face uncontrollably now. I felt like a dam had burst inside me after years of holding back emotions I didn't even know I had. I thought I knew him. I choked out. Hannah held my hand tight. Emily. I loved him, I cried. I trusted him, Hannah. I married him. And he was planning things behind my back. He looked at me tonight like I was nothing. Like I was already gone. Sob tore out of me. I can't believe I lived with a man who smiled at me in the morning and wrote "A Choir by Winter" next to my name at night. Hannah shook her head, her own tears falling. You didn't know. You're not to blame. Jason hid who he was. I wiped my face, but fresh tears kept coming. I should have left when the yelling started, when he started controlling every little thing, when I stopped recognizing myself. My voice cracked. But I stayed. Always stayed. Why did I stay? Hannah squeezed my hand harder. Because you believed in love. Because you believed he was good. That's not a mistake, Emily. That's who you are. I swallowed painfully. But who am I now? My voice barely came out. For a moment Hannah didn't speak. She looked at me as if searching for the right words. You're someone who survived tonight, she whispered. You're someone who found the truth. You're someone who chose to run even while shaking. That hit me. Something deep inside. The tears slowed, but the shaking didn't. I'm scared he's going to come after me, I whispered. I saw his face. The way he watched me leave. Like it was a game to him. Hannah leaned in, holding my shoulders. You're not alone. You have me. We're going to a hotel tonight, and tomorrow we'll talk to Lauren and we'll go to the police. Okay. Police. The word sent a strange shiver down my spine. Do you think they'll believe me? They'll believe evidence, Hannah said firmly. And you have it. And you have me. Tears fell again, but softer this time. Not panic. Something like release. I nodded slowly. Hannah's voice dropped to barely a whisper. Emily, you're safe now. Really? But safety suddenly felt like an illusion. Jason had looked at me with too much certainty. Too much confidence. The way a man looks when he believes he can't lose. I wiped my eyes, steadying myself even as my body trembled. I just want this to be over, I whispered. Hannah hugged me tightly. We're going to end it. Together. The moonlight glowing through the windshield made the tears on my face shine silver. My breathing finally slowed. But deep inside, one truth remained unshaken. Jason wouldn't let this end without a fight. And something deep down told me the worst was still coming. The next morning felt unreal. The kind of morning where the sun shines too warmly, too peacefully, as if the world has no idea something is coming undone. I sat on the edge of the hotel bed, staring at the burner phone Lauren had given me. She had texted at 6 a.m. I have something you need to see. Don't come alone. My stomach twisted. Hannah offered to drive. She didn't even ask, she just grabbed her keys. We reached the small community center where we agreed to meet. Quiet, neutral place. Cameras everywhere. People coming and going. Or as safe as anything could be now. Lauren sat at the far end of the lobby, her eyes scanning every corner. She looked exhausted but determined. When she saw me, she stood and walked over quickly. Emily, she whispered, we don't have much time. My heart kicked hard in my chest. What's going on? She took a deep breath, then pulled out her phone and handed it to me. The screen showed a video. Jason. In a dim room, talking on the phone. His voice was calm. Come. No, she doesn't know. Emily trusts me completely. By winter, everything will be in place. My hands trembled as Hannah leaned over my shoulder. Jason continued. Once her inheritance comes through, we'll finalize it. She believes I'm the one supporting her. She'll sign anything. Inheritance. My throat closed. He wasn't planning the end of our marriage. He was planning the end of me financially. Lauren's voice trembled. He said the same thing about me. Same timeline. Same tone. Same plan. Felt sick. But then Lauren added something that made my skin crawl. Emily, there's more. She handed me a second video. Jason again, but this time angrier, pacing. If she leaves before winter, it ruins everything. Do you understand? I'll handle it if I have to. My breath caught. Handle it. Those words sounded like a threat wrapped in calm certainty. That's why I told you to run last night, Lauren whispered. He doesn't accept losing control. I sat down, gripping the chair. So what do we do now? I whispered. Before Lauren could answer, the door of the community center swung open, and everything inside me froze. Jason walked in. His eyes scanned the lobby slowly until they locked onto mine. He didn't look angry. He looked sure of himself. He started walking toward us with steady steps. Hannah pushed me behind her. Lauren stiffened, eyes widening. Jason stopped just a few feet away. Emily, he said softly, you left the house last night without talking to me. His voice was calm. Come. Every person in the lobby suddenly felt far away. He turned to Hannah briefly. You've been very involved for a friend. Hannah didn't flinch. Stay away from her. He smiled faintly, then looked back at me. Emily, let's talk. Alone. My stomach twisted. No, I said. I'm not going anywhere with you. His jaw tightened the slightest bit. Emily, you're upset. You found things you misunderstood. He took a step closer. Lauren instinctively stepped between us. You don't get to touch her, she said coldly. Jason's eyes flicked to her sharp. Ah, Lauren. Still interfering in things that aren't your business. Lauren didn't blink. It became my business when your plans included hurting her the way you tried to hurt me. His smile faded. A shadow crossed his eyes, something cold and dangerous that made my chest tighten. But in this public space, with cameras above us and people walking around, he had to keep his mask on. He turned back to me. Let's be rational, he said softly. You don't want a scene. I finally found my voice, shaky but real. You lied to me. You planned things behind my back. You manipulated me. And I'm not going back home with you. Ever. His eyes narrowed. And for the first time I saw the mask slip. Just a flicker. Emily. Think about what you're saying. I already have, I whispered. I'm done. Hannah squeezed my hand. Lauren stepped closer like a shield. Jason looked at the three of us, his expression tightening into something unfamiliar. Then he leaned in slightly, voice dangerously soft. You're making a mistake. No, I whispered. You made one. You underestimated me. That moment broke something in him. He exhaled slow and sharp, then straightened his posture. This isn't over, he said. Lawyers, accounts, property. You don't understand what you're doing. I held his stare. I don't need to, I said. I just need to be free. For the first time, he looked genuinely caught off guard, as if he didn't expect resistance. People in the lobby were starting to stare. Phones out. Cameras visible. Jason realized he had no room to play his usual role. He stepped back. Cold. Calculating. Fine, he said. If you want a war, you'll get one. He turned and walked out of the building without another word. The glass doors closed behind him. My knees buckled. I almost collapsed, but Lauren and Hannah caught me from both sides. Emily, Hannah whispered. It's okay. He can't touch you here. But the truth sat heavy inside me. That wasn't the end. That was the beginning of the real fight. And Jason Miller had just declared war. The days that followed the confrontation were a blur. A mixture of police statements, meetings with attorneys, and the constant hum of fear that Jason would appear again. But for the first time in months, I wasn't facing things alone. Lauren stayed close. Hannah refused to leave my side. And little by little, strength found its way back into my bones. We had filed for a protection order. We had handed over every video, message, and recording. We had shown the pattern, the manipulation, the planning, the acquire by winter notes. And slowly the system began to move. But healing was something else entirely. The first morning of peace. A week later, I woke up in Hannah's guest room, sunlight spreading across the blankets like warm paint. For the first time in what felt like years, I wasn't waking up to Jason's presence in the hallway. His footsteps weren't pacing outside the bedroom door. His voice wasn't echoing in my head. For a moment I just lay there, eyes closed, feeling the weight of silence. Safe silence. I sat up slowly, breathing in the morning air. Hannah knocked gently and peeked inside. "You're up," she said softly. "I made coffee. Real coffee." Yes. Not the sugar-free, fat-free, everything-free stuff Jason used to force on me. She smiled. Real coffee. With the real sugar he hated. I laughed. Small, fragile, but real. It felt like reclaiming a tiny piece of myself. A visit with Lauren. Later that afternoon I met Lauren at a small cafe. She looked stronger too. Lighter somehow, as if helping me had helped her finally close the chapter on her own trauma. When I sat across from her, she reached for my hand. "You did the hardest part," she said. "You walked away." I swallowed hard. "I couldn't have done it without you." Lauren shook her head. "I didn't save you. You saved yourself. I just gave you the final push." I bit my lip, feeling emotion rise in my chest. "I never want to be in that kind of darkness again." "You won't," she said firmly. "You saw what he really was, and you refused to let it break you. That strength most people never discover about themselves." A tear slipped from my eye, but it felt warm, not like fear, not like panic, more like release. Facing the legal fight. My lawyer updated me that afternoon. "Jason's attorneys are panicking," she said. "He didn't expect you to come in prepared. He didn't expect evidence. He didn't expect witnesses." That felt like a small victory. Not revenge, just justice. "He's going to try to negotiate," she continued. "He'll want to avoid court." I nodded slowly. But something in me had changed. I wasn't doing this out of anger anymore. "I just want my freedom," I said. "Nothing more." "And you'll have it," she promised. "Rebuilding takes time." That night, Hannah made dinner, and the two of us ate quietly on the couch, a comfort movie playing in the background. At one point she turned to me and asked, "Do you regret anything?" I thought about it carefully. My marriage. My fear. The lies. The years I spent trying to fix a man who never wanted to be fixed. But then I thought about something else. The moment I ran through that door. The moment I told him I'm done. The moment I realized my life didn't belong to him anymore. "No," I said softly. "I don't regret loving him. I regret losing myself. But I'm finding her again." Hannah smiled, eyes glossy. "You're stronger than you think, Emily." I wasn't sure then, but I wanted to believe it. The letter I wrote to myself. Before bed, I opened my journal, something I hadn't touched since the wedding. I wrote a letter. Not to Jason. Not to the police. Not to my past. I wrote it to myself. "Dear Emily, you survived the night he looked at you like a possession. You survived the fear that lived in your bones. You survived the truth that broke your heart. You survived him. Now it's time to learn who you are without him." The words blurred as tears filled my eyes. Not tears of pain. Not tears of fear. Tears of release. A new tomorrow. Weeks passed. The case moved in my favor. Jason backed down from fighting the divorce after his own attorney warned him about the evidence. The financial manipulation was exposed. The threats were documented. My protection order was approved. I finally moved into a small apartment. Cozy, bright mine. The first night I slept there alone, I expected fear to creep in. But instead I felt something else. Quiet. Healing. For the first time in so long. The world wasn't closing in on me. It was opening. The final reflection. One evening, I sat on my balcony with real coffee in my hands, wrapped in a soft blanket, watching the sunset paint the sky gold. Thought of Jason. Not with love. Not with anger. With distance. With clarity. He didn't break me, I whispered to the evening air. He only revealed the parts of myself I needed to rebuild. I breathed in deeply, a breath that reached all the way to the bottom of my lungs. A new beginning. New identity. New peace. The kind that comes after surviving the darkest night. And somewhere inside me, a quiet truth finally settled. I'm free. I'm whole. And I am enough. If you've stayed with me till the end of this story, it means the emotions touched you somewhere. I share stories filled with truth, pain, courage, and twists every single week. So before you scroll away, take 1 second, hit subscribe. Because the next story might be the one that changes the way you see everything.